Hey, and welcome back, everybody. I'm extremely excited to bring you Prashant, who is a cloud solutions architect with AI Sys. He's going to talk to us about conversational AI, which arguably could replace me right now based on how I'm talking. Love to hear it. Can't wait to see this talk.
All right. Thanks, Bill. And thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. The title of this talk is, let me just minimize this and move it out of our way so it's less distracting. All right. The title of this talk is Building Enterprise-Grade Help Desk Bots Using Conversational AI. Who am I? My name is Prashant G. Bhoyar. I was born and raised in India. Came to United States in 2007 for studies. I am University of Maryland College Park alumni. I co-authored a book, PowerShell for Office 65, and also acted as a technical reviewer for the book Pro SharePoint 2013 Administration. I am from Washington, D.C. area of United States, and we organize a lot of community conferences in the region. And ever since the COVID-19 pandemic has started, we have converted all our conferences to virtual only. So if you are interested, you can either check us out on meetup.com or on azurecloudevents.com. I am recipient of Antarctic Service Medal. I got this award from US government for the work I did in Antarctic continent back in 2008. And I'm recipient of Microsoft MVP Award since 2017. And those of you who are not familiar with Microsoft MVP Award, it's just the additional recognition that Microsoft gives out to the folks who does technical contribution. And I don't work for Microsoft. And also I don't get paid for this title as well. And this title is valid for 1 year. And after 1 year, you have to submit your contributions, and your contributions can be in the form of speaking at conferences, answering people's questions on various public forums, creating training content and posting them for free on YouTube, or writing blog posts. And my current category is AI. And I right now work as cloud solution architect at Applied Information Sciences. We are based in US, and we have also offices in UK, Canada, and India. And in my current role, I focus on intelligent business process automation. I know it's a kind of mouthful of a role, but here I use a variety of the products and services that are there in Microsoft ecosystem to create intelligent automation. And when it comes to variety of products and services, I use Azure AI, bots, Microsoft Power Platform, Microsoft 365 Teams, and all the related technology. And I work at AIS headquarter, which is based in Reston, Virginia. This is a quick information about our company. We have been recipient of Microsoft Partner of the Year Award multiple times, and we are providing services from last 40 years, and AIS is growing. So if you or anyone in your network is looking for a change, and if you are located in US, in Canada, in UK or India, you're welcome to check us out regarding the open positions. So this is going to be the agenda for today. We will start with why we have to spend time in talking about bots, especially in introducing bots in the enterprise space. We'll then talk with what is Microsoft Bot Framework, what are Microsoft Power Virtual Agent, what is Datahouse for Microsoft Teams, Azure Bot Service, how to get started if you're really interested in this, what are Microsoft Community Services, demos, key takeaways, and Q&A. So before we talk about bots, it's really important to understand where we are in our AI journey, because if you are writing a bot or chat bot, and if you're not using AI services, then you'll be having a hard time to make that chatbot really useful for your audience. So it's really important, like what kind of AI services are available and what's possible with AI today. So this is the definition I got regarding AI from Google's AI researcher. It's an effort to automate intellectual tasks normally performed by humans. And whenever like a lot of people heard or think about AI, the first thing that comes into their mind is the powerful machines traveling across the galaxy, or invading other planets, or destroying other planets. So we can categorize AI into three categories. First one is the strong AI, where I just gave you the example. The machines can travel across galaxy, they can destroy other planets, or they can invade other planets. Strong AI right now exists only in sci-fi movies and novels. Then there is a second category, artificial general intelligence, where Machines are very, very powerful. They can perform really complicated tasks, which are difficult for an average human being. And the example I can give you here is if you have seen Marvel Comics franchise Iron Man, then in that, there is a main character called Tony Stark. And Tony has a personal assistant called Jarvis. And Jarvis falls under AGI. Again, AGI right now exists in sci-fi movies and novels. Where we are right now we are at VKI, where we have specialized services for specialized tasks. So it's very important that when it comes to AI, there is still a lot we cannot do when it comes to implementing some sophisticated automation. We are trying to go from VKI to AGI and from AGI to strong AI. However, we are still at VKI. And these are the different terms or or concepts you may have heard when it comes to talking about AI. Now, from here onwards, most of the content I'll be focusing on is using the Microsoft stack because that's where most of my expertise lies. So this is the mission statement from Microsoft where they want to make AI and data science accessible to everyone. And it doesn't matter what your role is and where you are located and what kind of device you are using. And some of the services that are coming from Microsoft quite aligns really well with this mission statement. So when it comes to Azure AI, so the core of Microsoft AI services are part of Azure AI. And under Azure AI, the services are categorized into three categories: Azure Applied AI Services, where we have Azure Cognitive Search, Azure Form Recognizer, Azure Bot Service, Azure Video Analyzer, Azure Metrics Advisor, and Azure Immersive Reader. Under Cognitive Services, we have Language, Vision, Speech, and Decision. And under Machine Learning, we have Azure Machine Learning. And these are some of the resources you can follow if you're totally new to this particular services in Microsoft Stack. There is also a lot of good tutorials available on aischool.microsoft.com. And if you are interested in getting into machine learning and deep learning, there are a lot of good tutorials available on aka.ms / ML deep learning link. So if you are like me, like I started playing with Microsoft AI Stack back 3 or 4 years back, and I was really confused which service shall I learn first because everything was totally new to me and I didn't know which service does what. So this is the flowchart you can follow where depending on what you would like to do, if you would like to build your own machine learning model, then Azure Machine Learning is for you. And depending on where you are, you would like to host your model, you have a lot of other options. If you are more on a developer side or or if you don't have background in data science and you're more interested in consuming the AI services, then cognitive services and bots are for you. So I fall into the latter category where I don't have a lot of background in data science. I mostly focus on using the pre-built AI services and use that to build intelligent applications. So let's talk about why we should invest time in creating bots or introducing bots in the enterprise space. So if you uh, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella in one of the keynotes mentioned bots are the new app. Uh, Bots provide you more natural human-computer interaction. One of the key advantage of using bots in the enterprise space is it helps you to automate repetitive tasks and free up your resources. Now, bots are available all the time, and this is extremely important ever since the COVID-19 pandemic has started because overnight, a lot of companies started working 100% remote. Some companies were ready, but some companies were not ready for it. And guess what? The number one department that has the most horrid time was the IT support because they had to support the remote workers overnight and they were not ready for those kind of scenarios. And if you ask any organization, the IT department mostly struggle to provide proper service because the people who are working in IT department themselves were working on a different schedule because if they are working from home and if they have families, then their work hours may not be the regular work hours and may have to work late. Same is the case with me. I have a kid and my work hours change. Sometimes I used to work late in the night or early in the day. And in that case, if I have an issue with my laptop or any other IT issue, and let's say if my company's IT help desk is not working, that's a time where you can introduce the self-service chatbots, and you can support a lot of your workforce in the non-business hours. And also depending on what kind of technology stack you use to create your bots can be available where you are. And if the implementation is done right, the bots can adapt to the user depending on the circumstances. But the number one reason why the bots are getting really, really popular ever since the COVID-19 pandemic has started is it helps to automate the repetitive task and free up the resources. Like if you ask any or if you do a survey with any organization which has a really sophisticated help desk department, they will tell you like 50 to 60% of the tickets are very trivial or very are low are low in complexity and can be easily handled by a bot. And a lot of organizations have started doing that, where the low complexity or easier tickets are handled by the chatbots or voice-based bots, and more critical or more complex tickets are handled by the actual help desk person. Bots are also appealing, efficient, and easy and natural. And if the implementation is done right, it simplifies the UI. And if you go with, depending on what kind of technology stack you use, especially if you go with Microsoft ecosystem, you just have to build your bot once and you can deploy that to multiple channels. Now, channels in the context of bots is different as compared to channels in the context of Microsoft Teams. Like if you are familiar with Microsoft Team, which is another product which is similar to Zoom, where inside a team you can have different channels. The channels in the context of bot is different. The channels in the context of Microsoft bot is the various devices or services where you can deploy your bot to. And your bot may, if you have bots in your organization, it may help you to connect with the young users as well. So we are mostly already familiar with voice-based bots in our personal life or even chat bots, especially if you are using the big e-commerce companies for your shopping, or if you are a customer of big financial institution like Citigroup or HSBC Bank or Bank of America. If you call their customer service number, chances are their first line of defense is always going to be a voice-based bot, and that bot will ask you some questions, and depending your answers, it may provide you some information, or your call may reroute it to actual human agent. The same thing is happening now. The bots are getting entered into enterprise space as well. And if you are interested in rolling out bots, and if you are a Microsoft shop, then these are the options available to us right now. So the bots offerings are under two categories. One is platform as a service, and second is software as a service. Under platform as a service, we have Microsoft Bot Framework, which is an open source SDK and tools, and it's built for the custom bot development. And it's ideal for developers. You need to be a developer to use Microsoft Bot Framework. Uh, right now, the four major languages are supported: C Sharp, Node.js, Java, and Python. However, if you would like to host your bot in Microsoft Azure using Azure Bot Service, then only C Sharp and Node.js are supported. What does that mean is, if you use Java or Python to build your bot using Microsoft Bot Framework, you have to host your bot somewhere else, and you cannot use Azure Bot Service for that. And you can go to this link on GitHub to find more information about Microsoft Bot Framework. Recently, or 2 years before, Microsoft launched another product called Power Virtual Agent, which is available as part of a SaaS offering, where behind the scene it is built on Microsoft Bot Framework. However, it provides you a no-code experience for bot development, and it's ideal for business users and domain expert to easily build a bot. Uh, and as I mentioned, behind the scene, it's still using the Microsoft Bot Framework. So the underlying technology is the same. It's just like this Power Virtual Agents are available to us as a SaaS offering. And you don't have to write a single line of code to create a sophisticated bot. And if you see, if you are familiar with this, or if you play with this product, you will soon realize that we can create a really sophisticated bot within a day, as long as you know how the product works. And you can go to this link to find more information about Power Virtual Agent. There is another product available in Microsoft ecosystem called Microsoft Bot Framework Composer. It is an open source and cross-platform product which allows you to build a visual authoring canvas. And that means you can build your bot and using Bot Framework Composer, and you can deploy that into the Azure. There is a new offering from Microsoft called Microsoft Datahouse for Teams. And you may be wondering why I'm talking about Teams, which is a competitor of Zoom in the talk title with Conversational AI. There is a reason for it. So under this offering, what we can do is we can create chatbots using Power Virtual Agents for free, as long as those chatbots only work within the Teams UI only. And if you are using Teams for work, then chances are you already have license for Microsoft Dataverse for Teams. So this is a really good way, especially if you would like to try out Power Virtual Agent and you want to do a quick rollout with selected users, you can definitely take advantage of Microsoft Dataverse for Teams and create a chatbot using Power Virtual Agent. There will be few limitations though, like that chatbot will be only accessible within inside Microsoft Teams, and it will also have some kind of service restriction. However, it's a really good way to quickly try out this product and see whether you really liked it or not. Now, when it comes to the two products, right? Like one product or one offering is Microsoft Bot Framework. The second one is Power Virtual Agent. And the target audience is different. But what if I would like to have a mixture of team where some people are building bots using the custom code, and few people are building bots using the Power Virtual Agent. So how these multiple bots will interact with each other. So if you use Power Virtual Agents, and if you deploy your custom bot to Azure, then you can use something called Bot Framework Skills that allows you to do to interact the bots built using Power Virtual Agents and the bots building using Microsoft Bot Framework. It's a really good way to have a mix of team where some people are using pro development toolset and some people are using low code, no code toolset, and they are building bots, and their bots can interact with each other. So Power Virtual Agent is the latest offering in Microsoft Power Platform. I'm not going to cover Power Virtual Agents in detail in this talk, but I just wanted to give you like a quick 2-minute overview because there is a lot of powerful scenarios you can build using Power Virtual Agent. And since it is a part of Power Platform, there's a really good integration available between the Power Virtual Agents and other Power Platform products like Microsoft Power Automate. And with Microsoft Power Automate, you can build automation that can target with more than 300 connectors. And inside those connectors, you will see like majority of the services in Microsoft are there, but also some non-Microsoft services are there. Like you can have automation that is tied up with Google Drive or Google ecosystem or AWS or some other popular third-party services. And you can also build your own custom connector as well. And this is how the visual authoring canvas will look. Like you will be using a bot Power Virtual Agent designer, and you will be building bots using drag and drop functionality. And you can readily test that bots within the Power Virtual Agent UI as well. With Datahouse for Teams, the only difference will be you will be using Microsoft Teams UI to build your bot and to test your bot. So let's talk about what is Microsoft Bot Framework. So Microsoft Bot Framework, it's an open source SDK and tools. And basically, when you use the Microsoft Bot Framework, you will be using your custom bot here using Bot Framework. And then your bot will be constantly exchanging the messages with the devices or channels where you have deployed your bot to. That device or channels can be a web chat, email, Facebook group, and the list goes on and on. And to really create a meaningful bot, you definitely need to integrate your bot with some kind of AI services. Because the end goal of the bot is to mimic the human interaction. And when it comes to integrating AI services, you can go with Microsoft Cognitive Services here. But let's say if you are not a Microsoft shop and you are a Google shop or you are IBM shop or you are AWS shop, you can also use your own AI services as well. As long as that services can be consumed via REST-based APIs, you should be integrate that with your bot and can add intelligence to your bot. And once you build a bot, then you just have to do some configuration changes, but you don't want to write, let's say, you don't want to rewrite your bot to make that bot available in other devices or channels. Or right now, like if you build a bot using Bot Framework, you can deploy that to a lot of Microsoft products and services like Skype, Teams, but you can also deploy that to Facebook, Quick, Twilio, Slack. You can also deploy that as Alexa skill as well, direct line, and there is also support available for telephony as well. So that brings an interesting question. So let's say if I go with Microsoft Bot Framework and I would like to build a custom bot where I can host that bot, because I see this confusion a lot with in the community where most of the people think is if I use Microsoft Bot Framework, then I have to use Azure to host my bot. That's not true. It is recommended that you use Azure Bot Service to host your bot because you get a lot of additional features with it. However, you host the bots in your own infrastructure as well, and you can host that in VMs, and that VMs can be in Azure or any other public cloud provider, or you can host your bot in your on-premise server. Only caveat is in the second option where you'll be hosting your bot yourself. You just have to go through, install some prerequisites and some tools to host the bot. And this is the typical life cycle you will be used following when it's come to creating the bots. So bot development is fairly new, and most of the time you'll be spending is in the stage one, which is planning, and the last one, which is evaluate. So in the planning stage, it's very important that you do your UX right, and plan what kind of dialogues you will be having, what kind of design cards you will be having, and visualize what kind of experience you would like to provide for the users. Then you can use Bot Builder SDK in the building phase. You can integrate AI services such as cognitive services. There are a lot of getting started templates available. Then there is a free open source tool and cross-platform tool available called Bot Framework Emulator that you can use to test your bot locally. And you can also use something called Application Insight, which is another service in Azure that gives you the information about telemetry. Again, Application Insight is optional. You can also use your own telemetry service as well. Then you publish your bot. You can publish that bot to Azure, or you can publish that bot to your own web host as well. And once your bot is published, then you can connect that to various channels, supported channels. And then the last stage is you will be constantly evaluating the telemetry and then making some changes depending on your users' feedback. So when it comes to creating the bots using Microsoft Bot Framework, again, these are my personal thoughts. I'll always recommend, if you are going to use Azure Bot Service for your bots, then start with Azure Portal, uh, create or configure your bot there, uh, deploy the bot there. And once the bot is ready, then download the source code from the Azure Portal and start making changes in it. This way, you're pretty sure you'll be definitely know that, okay, my bot is working, it's ready for deployment, everything is there. All I had to do is just start adding the business logic in it. uh, if you're not going to use Azure Bot Service to host your bot, then only option you have is start building the bot locally on your machine, implement a customization, and then deploy to the VMs of your choice. So as I mentioned, to really create powerful bots, you have to add intelligence to it. And one of the way you can add intelligence to your bot is using cognitive services, which are pre-trained AI services available from Microsoft. And these are very easy to use. All you need is the URL of your cognitive services service and the subscription key. And these services are available to us as in the form of REST-based API. And you can use any platform or any language of your choice as long as that platform or language allows you to consume REST-based API. Uh, when it comes to platform, you can use that with any kind of RPA tools as well, like UiPath or Blue Prism or Microsoft Power Automate Desktop, which allows you to consume a REST-based API. This pre-trained services uses a very sophisticated machine learning model, which are actually uh, coming from the Microsoft research group. And there is a tons of documentation available over GitHub and also on some Microsoft sites. And let's say if you are using any of the service and you see some issue in that, you can always post the question on Stack Overflow, and Microsoft is paying some people to monitor the questions and provide you the answer. So when it comes to building bots, under cognitive services, we have lots and lots of services. However, when it comes to uh, using a specific service to build a bot, these are the services that you will be using most when in the context of the bot. The first one is Language Understanding Intelligence Service, or the short form is LUIS. There's Azure Search, there's a Q&A Maker, Bing Speech API, Speech Recognition API, translator, custom speech service. And if you're not a Microsoft shop, if you're more familiar with Google, Stack, or AWS, both these vendors or even IBM has similar offerings where you just have to find out which offering is you need, and you can start using that inside your bot. So what we'll be doing is I will not have time to cover each and every service, but I will be using one service where I can use that service and quickly create a really sophisticated bot within the next 5 to 10 minutes. And while I'm showing the demo, feel free to ask any questions you may have. So for the first service I'll be showing you is a Q&A maker. So for that, what we can do is just use your favorite browser and use your favorite search engine and just search for Microsoft Q&A maker. And the link that we are looking for is qnamaker.ai. And here, once the link is loaded, just go and in the top right corner, click on sign in. Since I'm sharing my screen, I'm on Zoom call, and plus I'm also turn on my camera. That's my, it's taking a lot of time to load, but generally, if I'm not sharing my screen, this kind of things load, this particular service loads very, very fast. So there is a concept here called a knowledge base, where using this service, we can create a knowledge base which you can use or expose in the form of bot. And inside that knowledge base, we can add some preliminary information that bot will be using to provide information to the end users. So a couple of areas where you can definitely take advantage of the service is if your company has a big HR department, or if your company has a big finance department. Typically, there are a lot of different questions depending on your scenario that companies have posted out on their intranet site or internal portals, but it's really hard to find that information. So what we can do is we can use that information and create a knowledge base out of that using Q&A Maker service, and then we can expose that via bot. So that way, I can just talk with the bot and get the stuff that I need. So the first step we need to do is we need to click on create a knowledge base. And there are multiple steps we have to follow. It's very simple and easy steps. First thing we need to do is we need to create a Q&A maker service. And again, everything we are creating, we need access to Azure for that. So I'll be clicking on create a service, and now it's launching the Azure portal for me. And I just have to provide some quick information regarding this service, so I can get it created. So first thing I need to do is the subscription. Then the resource group, and let's call it as build stuff 2021, and the pricing tier. So most of the services that are there in Azure or in cognitive services comes with two tiers. One is the free tier and second is the paid one. I recommend you to, if you are playing with the services for the first time, I recommend you to start with the free tier. However, most of the free tier has a restriction where you can only use free tier service once per subscription. So if you already use that, then you have to go with the paid ones. I already used the free tier in another service that I created in this subscription. So I'll be going with the paid one. And then I had to provide the Azure search details for the data. And here, make sure the location you're selecting is the closest to where your users are. So I am from East Coast of US, United States, so I'll be going with East US. And then the pricing, Azure search pricing, again, the same thing. You can go with free or you can go with some other paid versions as well. This is going to be the app name and the website location. And then application insights, it's up to you whether you would like to enable that or not. However, make sure all the resources you are provisioning are in the same geographical location. Then let's click on review and create. And if everything is right, then I will be just clicking create, and it's validating right now. And this operation will be done in 30 seconds to 180 seconds. And this is a really good time. If you have any questions, then we can take those. All right, so deployment is happening right now.
No questions right now, by the way.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the deployment is successful. Let's go back to the previous page where we're creating the knowledge base. Then you will just scroll down and you will just click refresh so we can connect this recently created Q&A maker service to our knowledge base. So here we had to specify the correct Microsoft Azure directory ID, then the correct subscription name, and then select the service that you just created. Typically what I have seen is it takes maybe 1 to 2 minutes before the service creates everything in the backend. But you can just keep refreshing this page, and typically in 30 to 60 seconds, you can start using this service. All right, looks like things are happening. So just wait for it. All right, let me do it one more time. Okay, one more time again. If this doesn't work, then I already have a service which is already created, and we can use that. So we don't have to waste time in refreshing. Okay, one last time. Otherwise, we'll be using the other one. All right. Okay, let's go with the other one. All right. Now it's loading the language setting for us. And typically this this UI does not take this much time since I am using Zoom for screen share and my video is on, and also I'm not in a proper location where there is a fast internet speed. I'm seeing some lag. Otherwise, the things are pretty fast here. So while we are waiting for this, let me see if I can go back to our previous one and use that. All right, so perfect. So this service is ready that we just created. Now select the language. So you can see here multiple languages are there. Some languages are where the chit chat or extraction is available, and some languages where only extraction is available. So let's say if uh, okay, both Latvian and Lithuanian languages are there. So now what is the difference between chit chat and extraction, and what is only extraction? So when it comes to chit chat, you can add a persona to your knowledge base. That means there will be some predefined questions that will be or question and answer that will be added to your bot or to your service or knowledge base that you can take advantage of that. But those kind of predefined experiences or persona are only available in the top 10 to 5 to 8 to 13 languages. So for this demo, I'll be going with English. And then let's take the knowledge base name as build stuff 2021 COVID KB. Since we are still going through the COVID-19 pandemic, I will be building a knowledge base which we can build so that the employees can get information about the latest policies around COVID, and they don't have to like email the HR or they don't have to email the corporate department. Then the most important step here is how you would like to populate your knowledge base. So that's where the beauty of AI services comes into picture. So when it comes to populating your knowledge base, you can start from scratch, or you can also use a lot of pre-built knowledge base that is already there. And you can use that in the form of if that information is available in the in the publicly available website, or if it's behind your corporate firewall, you can also download that information on your desktop using the PDF, doc file, or Excel file, and you can export that here. So here, what we'll be doing is, since I'm in United States, I'll be quickly going to, oops, looks like okay. I'll be quickly going to the US government site. I just went to my favorite search engine and just search for the US government site where I get the information about the latest information about the COVID-19 pandemic. And as you can see here, the information is available in the form of question answers. And what we'll be doing is we'll be just grabbing this URL here and going back and just provide the URL here. And then we'll select the persona. So persona for the chit chat will be going with VT this time since we are in the conference. But if you are doing this demo for your uh, uh, for your work, then go make sure you go with professional or none. And then last thing is just create your knowledge base. So depending on how many questions we have, the service may take anywhere between 1 minute to 3 minutes to generate the knowledge base for us. And typically it's really quick. And that's where all the AI services are coming into picture, where it's automatically scanning the page and capturing the information. All right. So the knowledge base is created, and as you can see, it has captured almost 333 question answer pairs here. And you can scroll down, you can edit this here, you can edit this, you can also add the alternate phrasing, and you can also edit the answers as well. And I think in the audio video setting room, can you put that room on the mute? Because I'm hearing some background noise. All right. So once you can review this, and then you can add your own Q&A pair as well. And once everything is there, just click on save and train. And that's where it will train this knowledge base. And then we can quickly test this out inside this portal itself. So if I ask what is COVID-19, and if there is an answer for that, then this service will give me the answer. And since it has AI inbuilt in it, I don't have to do like one-to-one mapping. I can ask this question in a different way, and this service will be able to comprehend what I'm asking and give you the answer. And if you like what you saw, you just have to go to publish and click publish button, where using this button, you will be publishing this a Q&A maker a service here. And once this service is published, we have multiple ways how we can consume this. As I mentioned in the middle section of the talk, all cognitive services are available as a REST-based API. So this is the sample available to us, like how we can consume this knowledge base in the form of REST API using Postman or using curl. And the other option we have is we can also create a bot from this one. So let's click on create a bot. And now we are launching in the Azure portal, and we will be creating a bot using Microsoft Bot Framework, which will be using this Q&A maker service behind the scene to provide us some information. So again, a bunch of things we had to add. We had to provide the bot handle, the subscription, the location, pricing tier. Oops, let me see if it's the correct subscription or not. Okay, let's go here. AI. East US location. Okay, I will be going with F0 and the app name. So this particular configuration setting will give you a clue that even if we are creating a web app bot, at the end of the day, it's just a website with a different with a URL and with a different kind of user interface than a traditional web app or mobile app. Now here we have to select the language. In the beginning, I mentioned if you are going with Microsoft Bot Framework and if you are deploying your bot to Azure Bot Service, only C# and Node.js is supported. So I'll be going with C# this time. And the authentication key for Q&A Maker service is already added automatically for us. And I just gonna go ahead and click create. And if everything is right, our bot will be ready in a matter of a minute. And we can start testing this bot in the Azure portal. We can also start consuming this bot outside of Azure portal as well. All right. And while the deployment is happening, let me know if there are any questions. And this deployment will take maybe 1 or 2 minutes.
Not seeing any right now, Prashant.
Okay, good to know. All right. And while this deployment is happening, so let's go back to Q&A Maker service. And let's say you publish this service, and the way you can do this is the management of this FAQs. You can give this access to your HR department or finance department, and they should be able to do the changes here. So that way you're not really exposing your customizations to them. So they just have to come to this portal, modify the information, and once they are ready, just click on save and train, test it out in this portal itself. And once things are ready for deployment, just click on the publish button. All right, the deployment is complete. Our bot is ready. So let's go and quickly find out our bot. So if I click on the overview, so far we haven't written a single line of code to create the bot. However, when we are configuring, the portal asks us what kind of language we selected, right? So here, if you click on this button, download bot source code, I should be able to get now the entire source code of this bot. And since we use C#, I will be needing to use the IDE, which supports the C# based development. So once this zip file is ready, I'll be just downloading that, and then I can start adding the customization inside the bot. And I think we have 5 more minutes, so let me cover a few other things. So here, in the Azure portal itself, I can start testing this bot just to make sure whether everything is working fine or not. Let me quickly refresh this. And typically you'll see maybe a delay of 1 minute or two, especially when your bot, you just create your bot, but once the bot is created, you won't be having to see like this kind of delays when it comes to testing or checking few configuration items of your bot. So if I click on test in a web chat, now it is making sure the entire infrastructure in place for this bot, so you can play with it. And once this is done, I can start interacting with the bots in the chat window itself. So if I scroll down here and just type hello, and let's ask what is COVID-19. And if there is an answer for this one, then it will come back from the knowledge base. Now let's take a look at the channels in the left-hand navigation. So by default, when you deploy your bot, it is always available as a web chat, but you can also add additional channels or support for Alexa, direct line speech, Facebook, GroupMe, Microsoft Teams. So if I go in Microsoft Team here, all I have to do is just do some bunch of configuration, and then our bot should be ready to be used within Microsoft Teams. And only thing I had to specify in what tenant my Microsoft Teams is, whether it's government or commercial. And I'm going with the commercial. And within a minute, then our bot is also available to be used on Microsoft Teams platform as well. Okay, let me go back to the bot profile. Let me go back to the channels again. And if I right click on this one, and if I go to my Teams window, so here I'm not be opening the Teams, but I'll be opening the Teams in the browser itself. I should be able to interact with this bot inside the Teams client. And again, I haven't done like much of configuration. So you just have to write bot once, and you can use that bot, same bot into the multiple devices or channel. All right. All right, let's see. Let's try hello and see if our bot is ready for interaction or not. Oh, perfect, it's ready. Let's ask what is COVID-19. And if everything is working right, perfect. I can interact with this bot on Microsoft Teams, and I had to write like a 0 line of code for it. So I know we are pretty much towards the end. So these are some of the practical applications you can build using the combination of Microsoft Bot Framework and Cognitive Services. And again, these are my personal thoughts when it comes to comparing the Power Virtual Agents with Microsoft Bot Framework. So Power Virtual Agents are really, really easy to use. You can build very sophisticated bots using that, without writing single line of code. However, they are a little bit expensive because they are available to us as a SaaS offering. Microsoft Bot Framework, very cheap to use. However, you need, just like with any traditional custom application, you had to do a lot of work upfront to have a working bot. So if you would like to get access to Power Virtual Agent, this is the one way you can do that for free. Just go to this link, sign up for Microsoft 365 Developer Program. With that, you get your personal Microsoft 365 subscription. That includes the Power Virtual Agent as well. To use Azure Bot Service and to use Cognitive Services, you need access to Azure. And if you would like to learn that, the recommended way is you get your access through MSDN. If you don't have MSDN, then you can sign up for the free trial as well. And depending on your country, you get some fixed credit for free. Or you can also use Azure for Students, where if you're a student, you can get some credits free. Again, that depends on your school and also depends on your country. So hopefully the content we covered today made you excited about the conversational AI offerings in Microsoft, and you will go home and play with it. And with that, it comes to the end. These are my contact details. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'm available on LinkedIn, Twitter. With that, thanks for coming, and please provide the feedback via the event app. With that, stay safe and stay healthy, and we can take any questions if you have.
Thanks so much, Prashant, for that. I have a question while I wait to see if anybody has anyone in the chat. In the settings, there's some learn and train. How much learning and training typically do you have to worry about with these? Like, say you're I don't want to say simple, but like the help desk or the COVID-19 information. Is there much training you have to worry about with those, or is it just kind of as part of the beta testing or your QA testing, kind of will just usually train itself?
So that button you saw in the Q&A maker service, train and save and train, what it's doing basically is just training that service in the backend. So that way, let's say the demo I show you, I just asked the question like, what is COVID-19, right? But when the user will be interacting with the bot, they may not be using the same way to ask the question. They may be using some different way. And that's where it's training the service in the backend. And they say it's a training, but what it basically is doing is just finding out various ways the user will be asking the question, that particular question.
Okay, thanks for that. It makes more sense now. That makes sense, right? People might phrase it differently, or
yep.
Just yep. I don't see any questions in the chat, so much appreciated the talk, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Prashant.
Thanks for the support. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.